think?
I'm ready.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, because we'll get started.
And I want to point out that
Oh, God, here we go again.
I showered.
It's the Jack
And Kathy
Show.
shit show.
And there we go.
Yeah, how was that?
Okay,
Did you like
I
that
think if yeah.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1.
That was good.
That was very good.
Do you think that the success of our clap has anything to do with
Yeah, where are you going? I'm going to get in the spirit.
Success or depth or effectiveness of our podcast?
I thought you meant our relationship.
No,
the
podcast.
I thought you're taking it really deep.
No.
Do you think the success of our clapping as a starting point is an indicative of the future success of our relationship? I'm going to put my hat on and be in the spirit.
Oh, that's nice, babe.
Yeah, I want to be a little festive here. What do you think?
You should sleep in that. That'd be a good sleeping hat.
It would. I would look adorable in it too. That's what. Why do you always laugh when I say that? It's really
Those
hurtful.
moments when you are extraordinarily humble. Not.
What do you
Just tickle my funny bone.
What are you talking about?
I will be adorable in it too.
Look how cute it looks.
You look adorable.
I think I look a little nice.
You do. You do. I like your hat. See? Now you're groaning. Sighing and groaning.
I'm just exhaling.
All these exasperated sounds that come out of you.
Oh. By the way, speaking of sounds that come out of people, my daughter Alex and her husband Sam were with us this week. Like the whole week, which was really cool.
Wednesday to Sunday.
Well, that's a lot for us.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a ball.
You guys are welcome every day.
Every single day.
All the time.
We love you so much. So it was just funny because, I'm not on TikTok and I'm on Instagram mostly for our podcast purposes, right? To promote the show.
Which you do a very good job at.
Oh, thanks. As good of a job as I do wearing this hat.
Better. And that's tough.
Okay. Anyway, speaking of sounds that come out of your body, because you were talking about my sighing, that TikTok thing they showed us. Guess my fart? That thing that we were listening to?
Yes, that was hilarious.
So funny. Like, TikTok is a colossal... I'm going to pontificate for a second. Mm-hmm. It is a colossal waste of fucking time. It is. It's just I think there's so little you learn and so much that it's just useless, mind-wandering shit.
I don't think it is, babe.
It totally is.
There's plenty of that, mind you, but there's some really good stuff. There's recipes and workouts, like all the stuff that's on social media.
You can find recipes
There
anywhere.
are people that you follow that are on TikTok, the Gottmans and there's another exasperated noise we're making.
I just think a majority of it is stumbling upon shit. Like I remember when I used to be on TikTok that I would watch someone cleaning a rusty thing, right? And I'd next 10 minutes had passed, and I'd go, what am I going to do with that? Like I'd be done with this going.
Save it.
Wow,
and
it's
then
really
forget
cool
where it is, and then never go to it again.
Exactly.
Like I did.
It's such a waste.
I would like to give the owners, I'm sure the creators of TikTok are listening to our podcast, so I'm going to give them a tip.
Oh, boy. Buckle up.
They need to be able, users need to be able to categorize their saved videos.
Users need to be off of TikTok. How's that?
Well, that might be true.
There's more data.
Would you feel
that
better if it was owned? I don't want to get political, but would you feel better if it was owned by
better, for sure.
an American company?
100%.
Yeah.
I still think it's like there was the one app that I loved, but Twitter couldn't keep it alive, which is that 6-second one. I forget what it's called now. I'm drawing a blank. But your videos could
kinda
only be
remember
6
that.
seconds.
6 seconds isn't enough.
But it
though.
was really clever. There was a lot of clever art on there.
Yeah.
And I feel TikTok is loaded with political bullshit, and it's been proven to be a place for misinformation to thrive.
All of social media is.
Well, I'm not denying that.
And
but a majority of people who are far younger than us who listen to this podcast get persuaded by a lot of stuff on there. And I didn't mean to go down this path. I didn't want to suddenly
I know
go
we
down
did not intend for this to be a TikTok.
I mean, we
thing,
can hang out there
but-
for a little bit because I think we agree a little bit on it. But it's owned by China, and it admittedly is grabbing our data. I mean,
Yeah.
Key had said it repeatedly to us, get the fuck off
And
of
I have.
TikTok.
I have
yeah.
for months and months.
Yeah. However, Guess My Fart was pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the kids, getting back to your story, the kids are like, have you seen Guess My Fart? And I am clueless. You were clueless, right? You had never heard of this.
Clueless, yeah.
And
right away you went to, I'm sorry for interrupting, right away you went to, is that similar to
that cut the cheese.
Cup of cheese.
Cup of cheese. Yeah. Which is about farts
Breaking the barrier.
as well.
Breaking the barrier.
Yeah, that was a very funny, clever, well done
Sure was.
video that went viral about farts between a couple. And but the kids were saying the guess my fart, and basically one person knows that they're about to cut loose on an impending fart, and before they let it go, they say to whoever's in the room, guess my fart. And they'll be like, or,
and then the person
or
actually
like the and it's hilarious because when then they release the fart,
God,
and when it sounds
we're
exactly
idiots.
like what they guessed,
it's funny as
my
hell.
God,
So someone
it's
guesses,
so funny.
and the next thing the person goes,
Do you think that's what makes us laugh, or is it actually watching people laugh at that? Because it
you
really
have to admit farts are funny.
farts are really funny.
Like, what do? I am not, it's so, this is a podcast about relationships, okay?
Oh, we're talking about farts right now.
Well, no, this is important. This is really important.
Yes.
Were you ever unfartable in front of other people? Did you ever hold back your biological functions in
Okay,
any
that's
way?
a better sentence structure
Yeah.
that I can understand.
Unfartable. That's pretty funny.
I'm sure I did.
I did for almost 2 years because it agitated.
Yeah, babe, you're not holding back now.
No, because I'm
anymore.
myself. So like
Lucky
we'll
me.
go for walks. Stop it. But
He
it's
doesn't
normal.
hold back. He just lets them rip. All the time.
Not all the time.
All the time.
Let me make sure.
You never hold them back.
I know, but
You are Mr. Pull my finger. What happens if I push this? And
what I'm trying to say here in this relationship podcast, which I think is critical to those trying to figure out how to be in a successful relationship, because I'd like to think that we are crafting a successful relationship, that after 2 years we are still, I think the honeymoon phase, everyone talks about the honeymoon phase. We still love touching each other and laughing with one another, and we still get things wrong, and we still are very excited.
what?
We still get things wrong. Well, you do.
Yes.
And so the core, though, is to be yourself, to truly be yourself. And if your
I know what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I wasn't myself in a previous relationship. So I was, I wonder how much tension that caused my body, right? And other things that could have come from it. Because I walk around the house and I'll go, Kath, do me a favor, squeeze that. And you'll squeeze something like the handle of the kitchen fridge. And as you squeeze it, I'll go, I got to fix that.
It's broken.
See, and then you laugh. That's
I
what
do.
makes it. That's what makes it worse, or conversely, better. because you accept me for who I
You
am.
know you mean better. Even though you say worse, you know you mean better.
Well, I do mean better. And I think that's the whole point of this podcast, is that we are ourselves. And I loved seeing Al and Sam together, and they seemed quite romantical with one another, which I thought was cute.
They're
And then,
awesome.
Yeah, and they have found their partner. They truly like being with one another. And aren't they lucky to have found that at 19 years old or 18 or whatever it was?
Absolutely.
So I just think that that's the theme. And so I loved having Al and Sam. Am I getting too deep now?
No, I think we could end it right here. The podcast. I think if you can fart in front of your partner, just do the fart test.
It's not just farting. It's creatively farting.
Burping.
No, it's creatively farting.
And laughing about it. If you can laugh about your farts with your partner, you might just be with the right person.
Well, farts are funny.
Maybe we start a dating app called the fart test.
I told you, and someone's going to steal this idea with all the listeners we have.
Don't say
it then?
No.
You know what idea I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
I strongly feel that would be one of the best dating apps ever. I do. I really, I still strongly feel that way. I got to just get Key or someone else to help me develop it.
Yep.
I feel that in my soul. And it doesn't even have to, you know what's funny? It doesn't even necessarily have to be a dating. I don't know how to describe it. We'll forget it. I don't want to go down that path.
Yeah.
So anyway, I loved hanging with the kids this weekend or this week.
Definitely.
It was absolutely amazing.
And the reason they were up, in addition to visiting us, was that we went to Madison for 2 nights. Well, 2 different nights, a Thursday night and Saturday night, as we were watching Alex's alma mater, Oregon, play volleyball in Madison. They played Purdue the first night, was it?
And then Purdue on Thursday.
Last night played Madison.
Wisconsin.
Yes, Wisconsin-Madison.
Yeah.
And if you've never seen women's volleyball at that collegiate level, it's collegiate level. It's phenomenal. It is so much fun. And those women are so fierce and so strong and so talented.
It's unreal. I marvel at thinking that Alex was playing at that level.
Truly, yeah. Right. I'm sorry that I wasn't around in those years.
Oh my God, she was
Would have loved to see you, Al.
We'll
have to watch some video.
Good.
Yeah. So that was really fun. We had a good time.
It was really fun. And then, so speaking, I think this is a good segue. So do we want to cut to a break here?
Sure. And when we come back, we got a topic to discuss.
Hi, I'm Alex Bowden, founder of People First Talent and Retention Consulting. Ever dreamt of a workplace where people aren't your biggest concern or frustration, but instead your greatest asset? We make that happen, and we do it in a way that impacts your bottom line with real cost-driven results. Build your business by building up your people, creating a culture that lasts. Help your company become part of the elite 10% that puts an actual strategy around their people for real results, and let's make a difference together. Email us at contact@choosepeoplefirst.com or slide into our DMs on Instagram at Alex Bowden, ALEXBOWDEN _ Choose People First. At People First, your success starts with your people. Why? Because life's too short to work with jerks.
Do you know the value of your home? In the ever-changing real estate market, finding the right price is crucial. Enter Anata Homes with Compass Real Estate. Our 30-minute home assessment lets you know what your home is worth and what it might need to grab top dollar. Contact us via email at hello@anatahomes.com or DM us on Instagram at Anata Homes. That's ENATA Homes. Let's get started today. Anata Homes, your real estate partners for life.
Okay. So let's jump on the topic. We were we were with Al and Sam all week. Mm-hmm. I keep saying all week, though. It was 4 days.
Yep.
We were with them for a 4-day weekend. And they are looking for a house. And you just recently got your license to
Yes,
your real
I'm
estate
now licensed
certification
in Illinois as well as Wisconsin.
And so we had you are, to be sure that everyone's listening to this, while these are not your children biologically, at least I don't think so. They are, however, very dear to you. And so you put them on a high priority list versus other things in your life. Am I setting this up okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you put them in high priority. We both do this, that our kids come first for everything. Your 2, my 3, right? We try to make them a priority. And
I like them. I like them all.
Yeah, same. And so the funny thing is that you had this weekend planned on your calendar for weeks with your friend Danielle. A girls' weekend thing.
Well, she had a holiday party. It wasn't a girls' weekend. It was a holiday party, gift exchange thing. And
when you want to tell the story, should I shut up?
It's just long story short. This is actually
just everything that I do. Hi,
land the plane, Jack. Land the plane.
Welcome to Kathy. She's my abbreviator.
So I got very, very upset with myself because I double booked myself and didn't realize it until I had already committed in this other direction. And I could not even believe, backstory being, I hate it when I fuck something up. I know we're all hard on ourselves when we fuck up. I get especially distraught when I fuck up. And I had a moment today where I had committed to something and realized I forgot about a previous commitment that had been on the calendar. And I was very pissed. And you and I were driving in the car and I was like, God damn it. I was just so beside myself that I had messed up and am I going to miss Danielle's party now? And I can't believe it. I have the gifts for the gift exchange even at the house all wrapped and all this stuff. I'm like, how could I do that? And so one of the worries is, of course, my old brain and the things I forget. Like that's a whole nother topic of conversation to talk about how we're getting old and that shit happens and how we recognize it happening and it's like, oh God, that's just not good. But the other part is how we sort of, you and I didn't have necessarily conflict over it, but correct me if I'm wrong. You went into Fireman Jack mode and was trying to save the day for me, right? You were trying to come up with solutions and you were like, well, we could do this. I could pull over and I could help with the showings and then I can do or we could Uber and and I was like, no. And it was a little bit of, I don't want to use the word conflict, but it was a moment that could have probably escalated if you would have been like, well, what the fuck, Kath? I'm just trying to help you. And I had to say, just let's not go into solution mode. I need a minute to kick this around, to beat up on myself. And in a few minutes, I had time to just come to terms with it all and handle it in the way that I needed to handle it. And you just had to, you graciously sat silently while I...
Do you want to know my perspective at all?
Of course.
The reason I was getting a little more anxious to solve it is because we were driving 80 miles an hour on the highway, getting farther and farther away from home. Mm-hmm. So at that point, if we need to solve something and solve something means going back for some reason, I want to stop because we're getting farther and farther from a solution being possible, turning around. or getting you home or whatever that is, every second that goes by while you're in this stuck place, which I'll give you, but you were so mad at yourself that I'm watching the miles go like this. And I'm going, all right, because if she says, I want to turn around, we have just gone 10 miles out farther than we needed to. So my feeling was we're running out of possible solutions the more I keep driving. I just want to pull over. And I'd rather, it wasn't about time because we were going to be early to where we were going anyway. So that's what I felt. And then you just said, I need to sit. Well, you kind of yelled it. I do not need, you did. You yelled. You said, I do not need solution mode right now. And then instantly, I'll give you credit. You followed up with, okay, I'm not mad at you. I know you're trying to help. I'm just really pissed at myself. So I just need a moment.
Yes. This is
so then I said to you.
Totally me, my fault. I just got to feel like shit about this for a minute.
So I say to you, do you want me to keep on driving? Mm-hmm. Should we still keep going to take the kids? Because that's ultimately what we're debating now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to keep driving? No, it was
a priority.
And you said, yes, we're going to go see the kids. I just need a moment to figure some stuff out, and I don't want solution Jack.
Mm-hmm.
You said that.
How did that feel when I said that to you?
Well, so this leads to the Gottman stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And I can relate a moment that I did this to you. When we were working on the hood, which has been the bane of my fucking existence.
Not anymore. You're all done.
It's all done. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of work, and it was something you really wanted desperately. So I felt obligated to give you something that you want to design in the kitchen. If you remember that day, it wasn't working. Things were falling. Things were cracking. Nothing was sticking. And I was just pissed. And I think I even threw a tool somewhere. I didn't throw a tool. It sounds exaggerative. I kind of just slammed my fist down or something, right? Fuck. And then you looked at me and said, I know this is a lot for you and I really appreciate it. And I went, I'm just trying to solve this right now. This isn't about you. Remember that? Remember that day? When I went, I'm just pissed at this and I need to be mad for a second. Yep. Right?
Yep.
I just need to be mad at this because I can't solve it and it isn't easy and I get frustrated when I can't solve things easily. So how did I feel? Did I answer your question? I didn't feel bad. And let me back up. I felt bad for you. And I felt, well, I've got some ideas for you that could work. And then I went, all right, if she doesn't want to hear them, I got to step out and let her solve this. And then I told myself, just show up when she needs you to show up. When she asks you to show up, show up. That's what I told myself.
Yeah.
And that gets to this thing we listened to. Do you want me to try to download the thing we listened to earlier from the Gottman stuff? Do you want me to try to download that and play that now? Because I don't want to try to play it through here because it's too hard to hear. I would download it and play it.
Sure.
Do you want me to do that right now and then we can talk about it?
Sure.
Okay, so what is it that you want me to download? Just the Gottman's thing or the whole piece?
I think just John
Gottman talking?
John when he summarizes it. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to summarize it for everybody, and then I can always take a pause here, but I'm going to summarize it if I can, right? It's that partners, it's not having good communication between partners or even having good listening skills between partners. It's having the right, point of view of your partner, right?
The right perception of your partner. Yeah.
So if I had perceived Kath in that moment as stubborn, antagonistic, arrogant, mean, right? I could have responded like maybe you were even anticipating. Were you anticipating me responding a certain way, or were you waiting for me to go chill out or something like that, or no?
I felt I witnessed a moment on your face where you're like just frustrated that I,
Not that you made the mistake.
No, I know that I wasn't wanting to maybe listen to your solutions. I don't know. Right. You can only speak to that if I'm correct in the fact that you felt a little frustrated. I saw a deep inhale.
Well, you tend to read my deep inhales as anger.
Well,
And what did Djokovic say when we were watching 60 Minutes? What did he say? He takes big, long breaths to calm him down, to just bring his heart rate down. So you still have a tendency, and I think it's okay to talk about this on the pod. It's our podcast. When I take deep breaths and hold them for a while and exhale the 4-7-8 thing, you have a tendency to think I'm angry. And I'm just trying to not be emotive. I'm just trying to be calm. So that's not me being and holding it in, because this is, that's what instead I'm just taking a deep breath. So I would love if you read that differently, but this is still the same thing. It's all the same topic. It's how you perceive your partner. And so in that moment when you did it, I went, she's having a shitty moment. She wanted to go to that stuff. And then I actually felt like this. Ready? Man, should you have been part of this? Could you have checked her calendar better? And so I was going back and forth in what role could I have had to have helped you? Mm-hmm. And then eventually I got to a place of, all right, well, I can't be her keeper, right? I can't, like, Kat, don't forget you got to this and that today. And
yeah, might be my keeper.
All right. But you know what I mean?
If I keep tracking like this.
So here's what the Gottmans say. So let's the setup for this is that there's a guy talking about how if you perceive your partner in a better light, you tend to see things more positively about your partner, even when there's a tough moment. So let's play that right now.
Yes. Okay.
I really try to study the experts, and this is the Gottman's thing. This was probably this is like my foundation for probably everything. It's very simple. You have a good view of someone, you'll have a good relationship. If you have a bad view, you'll have a poor relationship. They would even say that communication doesn't solve conflict. It's not about being a good communicator. It's actually about being a good view holder, because then you can make that what's called the fundamental attribution error, where the wind blows and the door closes too fast. You're going to be like, why are you so careless? It's like the wind blew, but you're attributing it to their character when it was just a situation. But that's because you view them very poorly. There's been some hurt, some trauma, some emotional injuries that have taken place. All of that is being prepackaged into that particular moment.
He's right about that, because it refers to positive or negative perspective in the sound relationship house. So that being in the negative perspective is walking around with a chip on your shoulder, always waiting for something to go wrong, and making that fundamental attribution error where you really attribute anything that goes wrong in the relationship to your partner's character, to something lasting in your partner that is wrong, if you're a negative perspective. If you're in the positive perspective, on the other hand, when something goes wrong, your partner is grumpy, then you kind of think maybe it's a situation that's causing that. It's not your partner's character. And you're going to say, what's the matter, honey? Did you sleep badly? Or what's on your mind? Are you stressed? And so that perspective is absolutely critical.
Okay. So we got a chance to listen to it, and that was Dr. Gottman talking about this other guy's perception of things. And so my point is, with you, early on, I didn't do this. I'll admit this. Early on in our relationship, you would have some foibles or some things that are just your personality. And I would start to go, oh, is that a sign of something? Is that... right? Mm-hmm. And so I went, if I keep attaching a negative belief of Kathy every time she's a human being, I'm never going to see the human being.
Yeah.
So I made it, because I watch the Gottman shit all the time. That is the benefit of social media, is the Gottmans. And I read their stuff, and you know that. So in that moment in the car, I went, I swear to God, I took a deep breath, because I wanted to be present for you. I also didn't want you to just smack me in the head either, right? I wanted to go, hey, look, this. At one point, if you had attacked me again, I might have went, hey, this is yours. I'm just sitting in the car right now. So, right? Almost like, hey, own your shit, but don't put it on me. Mm-hmm. And so I just went, all right, I'm going to be silent for a while and give her some space, let her think through some things. And so the whole time I was thinking, how can I show up for her? She's feeling terrible. How can I show up for her? She's feeling terrible. Never once was I like, oh, she's got a fucking problem, man. She's got to remember shit, or she's got to look at her calendar, or she's got to do this. That's having a negative thought about you. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then now I've got a negative perception of you.
Right.
Right. And it's a race to the bottom, I like to say. Mm-hmm. What was your feeling during all of this then?
I was, as I said, very much overwhelmed with, I was very disappointed in myself for screwing up, for not being able to remember something so simple that I had even thought about the last night. So there's one side of me that is really just struggling with my poor memory sometimes, wondering if there's a bigger issue with my brain. But it's just my brain, I think. And the other side of me was truly just with the situational circumstances. I was just really mad at myself. Yeah. And I needed those moments to
Be mad.
be mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's an outlet. I needed to, really say a fuck and shit, and I can't, just to bitch about it for a minute, because that was really the release. That was
Sorry.
this.
I'm sorry.
What?
Because you did all that in the car.
Oh God, yeah.
And okay, sidebar real quick.
Yeah.
I swear to you, at one point, you said something that was just goofy. It was, I don't know, I can't remember. It saved my life now, but I remember going, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. And I put my left hand on the wheel and I started rubbing my eye because I was covering my mouth because I was smiling. And I wish I could remember what you said.
No, I probably would have.
You would have killed
ripped
me.
your face off if I would have seen you smiling and laughing.
I felt, did you sense that I felt badly for you though? Did I show up correctly? I don't want this to be just about me, but did I show up correctly?
Yes, you did. I needed that space to be really fucking pissed at myself and express it. And I took a few minutes for that. And I appreciated the silence because the solutions that were being offered weren't helping me. And that's not your fault. That's just not what I needed in that moment. And so when I asked you just to stop giving me solutions, you honored me for that. And then it was also very important to me. I at least had that wherewithal to say, I am not pissed at you in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
This wasn't you. This wasn't caused by you. You didn't create this. This is purely on me, and I'm just pissed at myself.
Do you remember?
You're
do you
just
remember
witnessing it.
Do you remember what I said
know?
when you said that?
No.
Oh, okay.
What did you say?
I said I know and thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I said I know and thank you.
Yeah. And so then I just cooled off and then I handled it. And as it turned out, I was able to get both things done. It didn't look like how I thought it would that day, but it turned out wonderfully. And there in and of itself is another lesson, right? So,
Oh, what's the other lesson there?
well, just that everything's going to be okay, really, like this feeling of fucking something up, and you just do your best to correct it, and everything's going to be okay. Nobody got hurt. Nobody, I don't know, list other bad things that could be of grave consequence. And this wasn't that. And everything was fine. And I was able to keep both commitments to some degree. And it all worked out.
But you're missing a huge part of the story.
Oh, what's the next part of the story?
I think it's a huge part, but it's very self-serving.
What?
Really?
I don't know what you're getting at.
That when you said I'm going to go do this, I went, okay, well, we don't have to go spend time with my sister and mother, then we can turn around right away.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I could have easily said, well, since we're out here now, I don't feel like turning around and driving back.
Yeah, you did offer some solutions that would help me, and I recognized that, and I said, and I thanked you for that. I appreciated that immensely.
Because I had said, we're going to be out there. I can always I can stay with my mom and Laura. And
you can take the car.
You can take the car. I'll take the train back to Milwaukee, which would have been
an amazing partner that says, how can I help you? What can I do for you?
Yeah, because in that moment, it wasn't, it was your issue and your challenge and your mistake. Mm-hmm. And so you owned and stepped into all of that. So it's pointless to then evaluate you and do Monday morning quarterbacking with you. Mm-hmm. Right? You know what I mean by that phrase?
Not really.
Monday morning quarterback means after the game's over, now you can evaluate and assess. It's after the fact shit, right?
Yeah.
So
hindsight,
it's sort of a hindsight thing, but it's being
hindsight is 20/20. Like you got it all figured out when you're already
So, but at that point, it's also pointless. Well, you're emotional at that point, right? And the last thing you need to hear is, if you got up earlier and checked your calendar at 7 a.m., and what the fuck's that going to do for you? Nothing. So at that point, it was, all right, I still may want to see my family. She wants to get back. How can I support that? And then as it turned out, if Laura and my mom didn't have company over, I probably would have stayed.
Right.
But because Laura was having a party, it was all right. Well, let them have their thing.
Girls' day.
And then I can go back with you at this point. Mm-hmm. And then even offered, right? What else did I do? I can drive you right there so you don't have to go out of your way.
Right. No, when I was ready to listen, and I certainly in the heat of the first moments of me realizing I fucked up, I was not in a place to listen, and I let that be known. And later on, not too much later, actually, 15 minutes later, you had some great helpful solutions, and I was very grateful because you truly are a great partner, because you just are thinking of me and you want to help me. And
I think what I do more than anything is I think positively of you. That's why I like this topic so much.
Well, and there's the Gottman quote, right?
I think positively of you. So that doesn't mean you don't frustrate me or you don't do some things where I'm like, Kath, right? Like you've had moments where, I've even said, Kathleen Ann, right? Because I get frustrated. But I still think, what? But I think positively of you. I always think positively. Always. I always think, didn't mean to do this. Or if something happened, like when you broke the cup, right? I don't sit there and go, oh my God, you're such a klutz. And I've been around relationships like that. Hell, I've been in that relationship, right? Where it's real quickly, you're such a klutz, you're such a clod. And man, that's oppressive.
Oh yeah.
Especially from people that say they care about you, and you jammed a mug into the microwave as you're pulling it out, slipped out of your hands, cracked stuff all over the place, broken glass,
coffee all over the place,
on the walls, on the cabinets, and not once did I go, Kathleen, can you just hold things better? You're such a clod. It was, are you okay? The first thing I said was, you okay? Did you get any on you? You're all right? Watch your step.
And then you helped clean up.
And then we cleaned it up together. Mm-hmm. And right, because that's the other thing. I could have said, well, you spilled it, you cleaned it. I've seen that. You've seen it. You probably lived it too. No? You're seeming out of it right now. What's wrong?
No, I'm listening.
Oh.
It's all good.
Okay. I just think positively of you. And I feel that if you think positively about your partner, you don't view their actions as some sort of, like the Gottman said, failure of character. I don't think you're a failure of character because you dropped a mug. I don't think you're a failure of character because you double booked. What's the point? You made a mistake. What's wrong? You are really deep in thought right now. What are you thinking? You're thinking about what TV show we're going to watch after this. What do you? What's your point of view on all this?
No, I think that's spot on. And listening to the Gottman thing, it applies to not just your partners that you have in your life, but also friendships or coworkers or other. If you don't think highly of someone, and you don't even have to they don't have to be mentors in your life or anything. Just somebody you're like, oh, that seems like a cool person. You are going to put everything through that filter. And if you don't think very highly of somebody, when mistakes happen or something, you are probably going to be more critical of that person. And it's a very interesting self-observation to think about, exchanges with certain individuals in your life and how you feel when you have those exchanges, and step back a little bit and ask yourself, what is it that you think of their character, and do you think of them with positive attributes? Right? I mean, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't believe that means that holds true 100% of the time. I am a big fan, wasn't always, but a big fan of nuance and how there's shades of things. And I say that because it's funny you bring up the work stuff. I try to give people 100% of the benefit of the doubt when I first meet them, believe it or not. I might be a little cautious of sharing something. But if I'm meeting a business person and stuff like that, I try to believe that their best interest is doing the right thing.
Right.
Relative to me. Right, because right is relative. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so when they break, say, that trust, or they break some sort of character bond that I recognize, that's going to be a nick that I'm going to look at.
Yeah.
Right? A dent, and I'm going to go, okay, is this character or is this a moment? And so that's why I try to give people time to present their real selves. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a saying, if someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
So I try to do that until someone just breaks it enough where you go, all right, well, they're not friends for me or coworkers for me.
Yeah.
So I don't want anyone listening to think that we walk into every relationship saying, oh, they meant the right thing as they're standing over us with a hammer. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, they just wanted us to get something off of our head. I don't believe that either. I just feel our relationship could deteriorate fast if I leave socks out and you think I'm a lazy fucking person.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or if when you make a mistake, I go, get your shit together.
Yeah.
That would race to the bottom.
Agreed. That undermines the relationship for sure.
You seem way out of it.
I think I just hit a wall because it's
7.
It's 7 o'clock and it's Kathy's bedtime.
Well, do you want to call it right here though? We can call it.
Let me do a card. Hand me a box.
Yeah, you want to do a card? Would you like to read one finally? This is
Which box is this?
Couples Edition.
Couples Edition.
The nudity episodes.
It's not.
It's the nudies.
It's not.
This is from the Skin Deep, which we like quite a bit, and they are not a sponsor. However, we do like them, and we use their product. We bought several of their cards and highly recommend it for people to do with their partners.
I'm not going to look ahead of time. I want you to randomly pick one.
But you're going to read it, though.
Yeah, I'll read it.
So you don't want us to read it at all?
No, you're just picking it.
And we're going to go for that.
And then I'm going to read it.
I tend to, I pick the cards, filter through a question that I like.
What do you think is the hardest thing for me right now?
Oh, what do I think for you is the hardest thing right now?
Yes. What do you think is the hardest thing for Kathy right now?
Wow. I'm not, I'd say a few things. Can I say a few things, or do we have to pick one hardest thing? I think it's missing your kids and time with your kids. Mm-hmm. Particularly Mac.
Yeah.
Because I know you'd like to be there for her for some things. Mm-hmm. I think you worry about money and your career. Mm-hmm. I think those are things that are on your mind quite a bit.
Yes.
I think the house plays a little bit of a role, but not too much. Mm-hmm. I think those are the two. I would say your family, particularly in this moment, Mac. And we don't have to go into detail. She's fine for all intents and purposes, right? Just going through
just in general, both kids finding
you just worry about it as parents.
Your basic parental worry.
Yeah, and then I think money's a big thing for you. You worry about your career.
I do.
And whether that's resuming the modeling career, getting real estate moving. Mm-hmm. Did I? Yeah,
I think you were pretty spot on with that.
Is there anything else that you think is hard for you right now other than this relationship?
No, I think you covered some really big nuggets. I mean, those are the lead horses for sure.
Do you appreciate how this whole time I didn't do any euphemistic responses whatsoever, even though I just did?
I didn't.
You didn't even think of it.
There.
Oh, I was so ready to lead with it. I decided to lead with kindness as opposed to the hardest thing for you right now.
Yeah.
There we go.
There's my Jack. There he is.
Your turn.
What do I think is the hardest thing for Jack right now? I would say it's similar in terms of the career card, that you are just challenged as to what's next for you, because you feel like there's some change coming, and it's trying to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
And it can't be just anything, because you have a vision of what you want out of that next thing. And so yeah, I would say that's pretty prevalent on your like, it's bringing you some sleepless nights sometimes and some anxiety riddled days. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's
So,
really it.
there
There's
you go.
nothing else that is over. I think the house is now behind. I feel better now that we got a big chunk of
Yeah.
the house done. The other projects, I'm okay. Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
I like that question.
It is a good question,
Yeah.
because I think it probably, I'm sure there are some couples who might use it, and when they say the answer to something, they're like, really, I didn't I didn't know that you were struggling with that.
Yeah. That'd
And
be a good benefit from that, right? Though, I mean,
for
is to know that.
for sure, to recognize what hard things are going on. And it could just be, I don't know, it could be the simplest things. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to, be homeless in a month if I don't find rent, or even
Yeah.
worse. It could be a small thing that was just hard today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no judgment on how difficult you're, or how heavy a weight you have to be carrying to make this a worthy card.
I have to give you credit. I like the fact that we mixed up the way, because there's hundreds of cards in front of us, literally hundreds, right? Multiple
yes.
hundreds. I would
There's
dare
3
say close
boxes.
to 1,000.
Yeah.
I liked the way that you did. Normally, I filter through and try to find a question that I want to ask, because I think it might be provocative in some way. I like that you just said randomly pick one and let's go with it.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
cool. That's a good way to.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose is to continue to get to know one another, right?
Well, and I think that's probably the purpose of the game too, is that you're challenged by some of these
Yeah.
questions that that they could even be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So
Well,
yeah.
On that
Good
note,
stuff.
babe.
All right, babe.
Peace.
You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Kathy Shit Show. All recording, engineering, and production provided by us. Connect with the podcast on Instagram at Jack and Kathy Shit Show for more insight into our shit show of a life. This episode is proudly brought to you by Pint Productions.
Point.